times we talked about women's basketball has been joyous. We've been talking about the sport, the game, it is just like this thing has gotten out of control. People can't handle it. And it is, I think people are having a very tough time acknowledging what's exactly making things move and shake. People are having a tough time acknowledging like numbers, facts,
They're ignoring
math. Yeah,
very very similar to Chrissy Sides as a head coach, saying that she wants them to take a bunch of mid-range and long twos
yeah.
for the fever. Yeah.
So this thing pretty much all jumped off last Saturday. We got the first pro meeting of Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever against Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, and Chicago Sky. And this came, it's a great game. I watched the whole thing from start to finish. And it was like, a game of runs, and it was a fun game. I watched, and, crowd was excited, and crowd was sold out, of course. And it, from there, everyone was on Twitter, having a good time. And then, there was, early in the game, I noticed a woman named Chennedy Carter, and I actually sent a message to the group. I saw like how she was moving with the ball. And I could just tell I got the eye for when somebody's nice. And I was like, yo, she's nice. Like I'm gonna be paying attention or whatever. And then later in the game, her and Caitlin Clark ended up like tussling on one end. There's a little bit of chirping going on between both sides. Who knows?
Right.
There was an elbow allegedly like from a rebound.
Did you watch it? Do you watch it? Have you watched it?
As far as like the replay,
like that, the preceding alleged elbow.
Yeah, I saw. I was like, that's like while you're trying to grab a rebound, that's kind of light. I gotta say, I don't know if that warranted what came after.
That wasn't exactly the Judas effect, right?
That was not Ron Artest hitting James Harden with the
right. Right. Remember the best part about that clip was like, because Mike Breen was in the Palace when he jumped into the stands. When he threw that elbow, Mike Breen was like, "Oh no, Ron Artest, no! Like, don't do this again." But yeah, it was definitely one of those. Caitlin Clark's trying to make a play on the ball as someone's has possession, trying to turn around, and then like someone ends up on the ground or there's contact. But like that is what you see like every third or fourth trip watching WNBA basketball. Like if that's the dirty play, then like every woman by proxy is, or not proxy, but like by definition is dirty in the WNBA because they let these players play like this. And I have a further point about that, but yeah.
Then a couple plays later, like Caitlin Clark is catching the ball from an inbound, but before she can get the ball from Aaliyah Boston, who stood there and just watched it all happen, Chennedy Carter shoulder check and hip checks her, and Caitlin Clark takes a fall essentially, and then she looks at the ref like, "What the fuck is this?" I saw that and I was like, "Ugh!" And immediately I was like, "This could blow up." And when I was watching the game, I didn't think much of it. I was like, "Call the foul!" And then she made the free throws or whatever, and it actually ended up being the one, free throw that won them the game. So it was kind of, poetic in that sense.
Well, if old girl had made the first of those two free throws,
Marina Mabry. Nobody talking about her. She scurried out the back door, Marina Mabry.
Hey, George Hill, 2018 Game 1 NBA Finals skated.
Yep.
Miss a free throw, never gets brought up again.
Yep. So this whole thing was crazy. Like in the background, Angel Reese is jumping up, celebrating, kind of like, or looking like she's very happy with whatever work that Kennedy Carter did.
Talk that talk. I was like, they finna get on your ass, and you was out here crying just during the Final Four about how mean people been about you, and it's like you tweet about this girl in subliminals. You talked about her in the press conference, I guess yesterday or today, and then like you doing this, like all right, man. If you want to play that villain role, that's on you. But we saw you fold when she beat you in the Final Four a couple months ago. We saw that. We saw you in front of the world cry. But whatever, that's on you. And I guess you got tougher over the past 100 days. I don't know.
In between Clark and Reese, like neither of them really had exceptional games on Saturday.
No.
Like Caitlin Clark, I think she ended up with like 7 boards, like 6 assists. So she's like doing that. She ended up getting the WNBA Rookie of the Month, which a lot of people swore to God she wasn't going to get for some reason. And I think she only had
she's like she's top 15 in scoring in the entire league, everybody, and then like she's like 4th in assists. Sounds like a productive player to me, but okay.
During all this, none of Caitlin Clark's teammates, even make any type of motion to come defend her. We got to keep it a stack. Caitlin Clark is the star player of this league. Like, I know people want to bring up all the great players in the league, and yes,
that are better than her right now.
They are great. They have been in the league.
No, let's also acknowledge they are also better than her right now.
Yeah, they're better than her right now. Just like most of the time when rookies come in the league, there are a class of superstars ahead of them.
Right.
It's not going to be forever, though. I'm here to let them know. And I think, people have had trouble seeing who the box office star is. It's like you mentioned it before. It's, there are oddly some parallels with wrestling.
Yeah, you have to remind me what I said because I say
about the Austin deal. With
it's like the whole situation of like, the Vince McMahon thing happened or whatever else, and like you're screwing Brett or whatever else. And that's the makings of something, and it's like, but like we got Vince McMahon, we got Steve Austin, we have Brett. Like I don't give a fuck about DX. Talking about DX right now. I don't give a fuck about talking about the Undertaker right now. Mick Foley, he's cool. Don't care about him right now. And like as far as talking about what's the changing thing, and like we've had this before in other leagues. Michael Jordan's one, Tiger Woods, Venus and Serena Williams. We've had this where like you have Magic and Larry, right? Like Bird, like you have this thing of like these two people are transformational these people are transformational to their particular sports and leagues, whatever you want to call it. And that doesn't mean that like you hand them the keys and you write everything, you make cater the league towards them specifically. But it means you have a chance here, whether and it's up to you on how you try to foster it in. Now, there's been things that I've been thinking about, like the past, since watching that game, as far as like, in the whole, Caitlin Clark, ever since the Final Four up until now, when she doesn't talk to anybody, everyone has these issues. The way her teammates seem to back her up, there's something going on that the fans don't know, because like for that to happen is strange. Like, I've heard stuff about like Caitlin Clark as far as like she can be a whiny Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan type of pusher of buttons or whatever else in practice and that sort of thing, and not understanding that like she's at a certain level that other people aren't, and frustration with that kind of stuff, and that can wear thin if you don't know how to if you don't know how to handle that or how to talk to people. And the way that this all happened is like, and I also heard that Carter's also friends with a lot of them on the Fever, but it's like, even if you're friends with Fever, like you still got to get in between and be like, hey, don't let nothing happen after this happened. Like you got to at least throw out the fake, we got her back, even though like the LeBron, Rondo, Chris Paul thing. Like obviously he's closer to Chris Paul than Rondo, but he got to get in between or whatever else, or walk off of one of them, right? He walked off of Chris. It's just this weird. It's all this stuff that keeps adding, and it's like Angel Reese keeps saying stuff, and it's like. What's the part that I don't like in particular is when Charles Barkley opened his fucking mouth, was it 2 weeks ago? When he basically turned his conversation from a online, which is not a real place, this talk conversation about Caitlin Clark, the WNBA, the popularity of it before and after she got there, and in the competitive nature of the WNBA players, it turned into, look, man, the fans online are saying goofy shit about Caitlin Clark, about what she is or isn't for the WNBA at this point in time. The players are, by and large, are not saying these things. He then put it into saying that by putting it onto the players, and now is rallied the same people that were actually the people that were causing the problems to begin with, as far as the conversation negatively around Caitlin Clark in the WNBA, into now we're looking at all these fucking black women. And it's like the black women in the league weren't saying shit. It was a black woman that was fucking online.
Yeah, like
And don't get me wrong,
this thing has been turned.
I understand why they're riding for the league as a whole. I understand it. A lot of them are getting out of pocket with it.
Like this whole thing,
a lot of them ignoring math, and
yeah.
like it's you straight up ignoring math, and it's like, okay, whatever, man. Like I get the reason, the feeling, the need to feel that you need to protect, but you got to communicate what you're trying to say better, because y'all saying like she ain't all that is like, she may not be all that, but they fucking watching by and large mostly due to her. And you can pull up a Google Trends and look at Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, the other, Alyssa Feely, Cardoso, who just had her first game. It is her. It's her.
It's her, bro. I don't know what is the hesitation.
That don't mean and for me, it's like I that doesn't mean you have to bend the knee toward. Like I'm watching WNBA. I've watched it casually. Still, I've watched it probably since Grindr got to the league, because I was wanting to see, like, is Grindr actually good or is she just big? Mm-hmm. Right? This is like the way this is all happening. Like, there's so many things I'm thinking about as far as like things that are happening in the NBA that happened 20, 25 years ago, that they've had to have their way of changing the league to deal with the criticisms of the league because of the flat out problem that is, we have these black athletes in this black sport, in this black league, and we are here trying to command a white audience everywhere we go, TV, in the arena, online. And that's what happens when we talk about Ron Artest. When Ron Artest ran them up to those fucking stands, that changed everything. You can't go, look, your teammate is in a squabble, 94 down the floor. You can't step onto the court, otherwise you get suspended. I don't know if that's really a thing in the WNBA, but they squabble, and they're allowed to squabble because people don't care. This is very similar to like hockey, where in baseball, where they're allowed to have brawls, whatever else, and no one freaks out. But once Artest went to the stands, everything changed. And the WNBA hasn't had that moment where like they've had to have so many eyes on them and people are freaking out. And there's also this part where society, by and large,
they have turned this into a culture war.
Yes, society by and large believe these women are delicate. They don't believe that while they are pro athletes, they're pro athletes in this woman's rank, and they're not tough, even though they all have the capacity to give birth.
Yeah,
the most painful thing in the fucking world without dying, but apparently, like, so for us, it's easy for us to be like, nah, they're just playing ball. They can be physical, whatever else. If y'all are, not used to watching women's basketball or whatever else, and you see it feels more like the college game, which by and large is officiated fucking poorly. It always has been, and too physical, and it's hard to see people do, show skill or whatever else. It can be a frustrating watch at times. So, yeah. But the WNBA has always been a whoever's best at the rim wins league. It's a forward and centers league, and it always has been. And then we have this one player that could be transformational, and another part of 20 years ago, the growth. Like, I'm looking at it and like thinking, all right, are they going to come to a point with Juju coming in in 3 years, with Paige coming in next year? Are they going to say, hey, we have Asia right now, we have Breanna Stewart, Taurasi's on her last legs, so she already passed her prime, she's just holding on. We got Candace Parker just retired.
Kelsey
what
Plum.
Are we going to do as far as star power? Are they going to do the thing that they did when it's like, all right, we got Steve Nash out here, and we have a bunch of talented guards, but we also got Darren Williams, Jason Kidd, Baron Davis, Chauncey Billups, all these big ass power forward, point guards that are 6'4" and hand check you and muscle you and wear you down. Right? Like, they changed the league, and like that's the reason why someone like Isaiah Thomas was able to become an all-NBA level player. There's not a chance he's running through Baron Davis and Chauncey Billups and them and doing what he was doing in 2017. Not a chance. So is the league going to be more accommodating to the style of play that is more popularized in the league now?
I'm glad you brought up the style of play, because like people swear everything is happening because Caitlin Clark is white. Like, if it was that easy, like, Kelsey Plum would be on top of the league. Cameron Brink would be on top of the league. Right. Neither one of them like, if you're talking about the shit with the pretty privilege and all that stuff, I'm like, camera
I'm not
breaks
getting,
right
I'm
there.
not getting to her
Look,
looks.
I'm not getting into that.
I don't
like,
care.
Like,
I don't
like
care.
I said, like when people analyze this stuff, like they end up saying the things like about this sport, like, and it kind of gives away what their real issue is. It's like any issue they have socially or some type of axe to grind, they end up
they're projecting their political worldview onto
these women, like, and like who didn't ask for this largely, like, you know, and then like you know, some of the deals, like, you know, I think Caitlin Clark has such a transformational play style, which makes her more appealing, as well as, you know, the whole thing, you know, her success in college, that makes her more appealing than even some of the longtime players. It's like, yo, I imagine people weren't, you know, when Michael Jordan came in the league, people weren't all like, what about Muslim Malone, motherfucker? Like, that's kind of like what they're doing right here. It's like, yo, you gotta, like, I just don't think these people are prepared to embrace the new people that are watching the you know, the sport.
By people, you mean like online fans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I make sure what you mean by people? Because it's like, all right, just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, because like, you know, like we see all the you know, the stuff, like, you know, we've been, you know, I've been very critical of Aaliyah Boston. I pulled that back online of late just because, you know, first couple of games I was like, yo, she
played good yesterday.
Yeah, I was like, yo, she's not doing her thing, you know, whatever. And then, you know, I saw lots of people saying that, but then I saw a lot of pushback for it as well. And I'm like,
it seems like her style of, she's adjusting to the part where like they are blitzing Caitlin at a higher rate than anyone's ever would have anticipated. And like, she was not last year, like they were throwing the ball to her.
Yeah.
Right.
Like she was like playing like Andrew Bynum essentially.
Yeah, like I don't know how much, I haven't seen much of her face-up game, but like it was like they were feeding her in the block or whatever else, or, you know, the elbow, and then she would go to work, as opposed to like now she's doing a whole bunch of short rolling. It's like people gotta learn how to do that. Like the reason why, like think of how long it took like Capella to learn how to short roll. It took him like 2 years, and then eventually when the Warriors went like all small, they ran him off the court because he couldn't even handle it against that level. Like it takes time.
Yeah, and everything in this has just gotten so negative. And then, you know, with the Kennedy Carter thing, people lost their mind, like with some of this stuff. And, you know, they were just, you know, various arguments about this has always happened in the league and all this stuff. I'm like, all right, man, is it all lives matter? Is this what we're doing with this? Like, is it we're talking about Caitlin, like we're talking about this scenario.
Yeah, my argument is like, hey, this has always happened. My argument is, hey, like, look,
don't y'all want some new shit?
Y'all are look, if y'all want to gatekeep, fine. If y'all want people or not, if y'all want the league to have the respect it's always should have had for the level of skill and the level of domination Team USA basketball has had in the Olympics and that kind of stuff, then the product is going to have to change to be more palatable to watch. The same way that, like, hey, you saw how college basketball moved the shot clock down. You saw how they opened up like freedom of play with guard play. Like the WNBA, from pardon my ignorance, but I don't see, it looks a lot the same like when I was watching Cynthia Cooper and them. Mm-hmm. It looks exactly the same. It is a throw the ball in, let them go to work.
A lot of layups. A lot of missed layups.
Yeah, and a lot of like missed layups because you off balance because someone gave you one of these. Right? And it's like, if y'all want that, fine. But like, I think that there's a change of the guard with what we have in these wings and guards that are coming in, and where that they can be the people that you can tune in and go watch in the future. With Juju and Paige, and also Caitlin.
Juju's gonna come in and
I also think about like, if this league got opened up, how would this unlock someone like Sabrina too? So I'm wondering, like, this is now the time. And like, you can't say that like, hey, we're only doing this for this league. Like, no, WNBA had this over the last 20 years and was dragged kicking and screaming from you know, what we talked about earlier with the suspensions, from the opening up of play, from the dress code, all that stuff. Because they were chasing the dollars. They were. And like, flat out, like that thing that happened.
It's never worked. They've never had a greater opportunity than they have with Caitlin Clark. I think the league needs to monitor the make sure keep her upright, like make sure she doesn't get injured.
It ain't even it for me when it comes to the Caitlyn thing. Like she's getting bumped or whatever. It's like it's fine. Like Steph Curry gets beat up, whatever. I don't care.
Like, I'm not worried about Caitlyn in that sense because like you can see it. She's tough. She can take it or whatever.
Yeah.
In the long run, like I think this will make her better in the long run. Like as far as a player, like she's gonna come in next year
if she doesn't break mentally. Yeah,
yeah,
she doesn't break mentally. Yeah. But what I mean is that like as far as Caitlyn, I'm talking about the larger picture of like when was Alyssa Thompson?
Alyssa Thomas.
Not Thompson, but Alyssa Thomas that threw Angel Reese on her neck first to the ground last week.
Yep.
Like that shit. No, that has to go. All of it. That's goonery. We got rid of that shit in the NBA. So like when people don't want to watch that shit. Like it's a part of a large conversation. Like it's you have that happen, and also like then you have like this happened to Caitlyn on a Sunday when there's no other sports and people are watching this shit and it's like this is the tipping point where like all right no one wants to watch basketball, ugly 90s basketball. People will lie and romanticize that shit, but then ask them, hey, did you watch Orlando versus Cleveland in the first round of the playoffs this year? No, you didn't. You didn't tune in to NBA TV? Oh, you're a fucking liar? Okay, thank you. So that shit has to go, right? Like, some of the goon shit has to go. And, like, I don't mind it because I don't want to watch that shit. I didn't want to watch it with Lambeer. And that's interesting when you talking about the Sparks and, or I saw the Cheryl Ford thing, right?
Yeah.
Lambeer's the coach.
Yeah, and Rick Mahorn.
Right. Like, nah, man. That shit has to go. That shit has to go. And if they, let me phrase it. It doesn't have to go. It will behoove them for it to go if they want to maximize this opportunity. That's what I will take back what I said, and that's how I'll say it. If they want to maximize the opportunity for next 5 years or whatever else with what's coming into the league, it would be best for them to say, hey, we're opening this thing up. It ain't about Caitlyn. It's about no one wants to watch people do this. And also, and the one thing I don't like is that our society feel like women are delicate. Like me and you watch women clank fucking skulls. Me and you watch women throw each other on their heads, necks, and shoulders or whatever else. These women ain't delicate. But the greater society believes they are. So when someone throws Caitlyn's not little but not big white ass on the ground, they're freaking out. Like I just saw it was a Chicago Tribune said that like off the court basketball this would be assault. I was like, this is the softest shit I've ever seen. This is the softest shit since Will Smith got slapped Chris Rock.
Like, yeah, like I don't want people to think that I'm like, yeah, man, like Caitlyn can't handle this. She can clearly handle that, but it's like, why should she have to? Like, like
it ain't even about her. Why should any of them have to deal with? Oh, if I do some, Alyssa Thomas is going to just one of these. That's her rep. That's her rep.
Yeah,
she got a track record of this, right? Like, nah, man. Like we don't like people like Pat Bev and Draymond. We want them the fuck out the league. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Grayson Allen, get the fuck out of here. We don't want these people in our league in the NBA. Why would I want it in the women's league? The fuck?
Yeah,
I don't want to watch that shit.
I just think some of the reaction to all this it's just been a lot, man. And it's like I just kind of want to like break down the basketball players because like I like the way Caitlin Clark plays. I like Dejanay Carrington. I like Chennedy Carter. Like that was the first time I ever saw her play. She balled during the game. She had like 19 points, great handle, great shot, and she got into it a lot with the media. And she ran the social media after basically not wanting to talk to the actual media. So there was like that's another thing. There was some
like,
two-faced
this whole part,
stuff
like,
on that.
The media, the thing is like the exposure that they're getting, right? Like she could not have gotten away with that if that was the NBA
at all.
She could not have commented that and then start tweeting spicy like that without that being a huge gigantic. And it is a gigantic thing right now. But I'm saying like they would have fined her for that.
They're not ready for it. Like largely, I think as a league, they're way too like public on how they communicate. They're almost like. They haven't been media trained, right? Almost. It's like, yeah.
No. We're media trained. No, okay. So, Rich, right? Like, right or wrong, we've been talking about this, about like how likable the personalities on the Las Vegas Aces are, right? Especially me, right? And you get that kind of personality from the NBA players on their own fucking podcast, not just for free, right? Because they have been trained through people not to say anything, don't do anything,
exciting.
don't say nothing spicy, no bulletin board material, nothing spicy, nothing that can be left as receipts. You just got to be, you got to, all these people got to act like they're Russell Wilson and say absolutely nothing and devoid of personality until they're on their podcast with their homeboy, and then they talk about what crazy shit happened at Joe Johnson's mansion when he was when you were Atlanta Hawk. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the thing we're talking about. So, like, when it comes to that, it's like, all right, the eyes are on you. So now what's going to happen is all these personalities are going to happen. These people are going to, like, all these great personalities, all this stuff we've seen, all the charismatic people we've seen in W. When this all changes up, they're all going to turn to the NBA robots. And you're not going to see someone like Sydney Colson be fucking hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see Asia Wilson be charismatic, right? You're not going to see Diana Taurasi be that like, how do I say it? That much of a ball buster, right? You're not going to see that stuff. That's going to strip the league of its uniqueness. Now, for the people that have been watching the league,
you're not going to see
all the drama and all that crazy shit.
Skylar Diggins talking about her lady region,
right? Yeah. Saying that she has all body parts, right? Like that kind of stuff is going to be stripped away, and the people that have been watching and following and loving this league for a long time, I understand why they don't want all this attention around, because I don't know if they recognize it or not, but like the more eyes on it, that's going to make this shit flip up, and they're going to lose the uniqueness and the character of the league that they love as this thing becomes more financially successful. Now, it's the trade-off. It's a trade-off, and you already know how that trade is going to go, because this league has been held up by the NBA that's been doing nothing but what? Scrapping tradition, scrapping everything in the name of profit. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
and it does stink. It does stink, because I want to see Chelsea.
I think if they would just be a little bit like less like trying to run these socially engineered campaigns to like smear like people like Caitlin Clark. It's like, yo, just kind of take your foot off the gas just a little bit. And I think people will largely kind of just watch the games and be excited. But it's like, we have to be the people that are newer fans, they have to be fans on the terms of the old, whatever. Like, it has to be.
That's what you will hope. But it's not gonna happen.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's why the pushbacks happen.
But I'm saying it's like, to them, the new people have to like get with that program. But like, that's not how a lot of these things work. It's like the stars that, like, the new people, the people that have been in the league are not their stars. It's just like wrestling. Like the people, like, they're not our people or whatever. Like, and then as Paige comes in, as Juju comes in, like, it's only going to get worse. Like, I don't think any of them will have the unique, like, kind of cult of personality that is surrounding Caitlin Clark.
And that's the crazy part about the cult of personality. She don't display no personality.
None.
She just go out there and play ball. So, like, I think a lot of it is, like, people project their things of, like, they just project, because I remember one time Dan Le Batard was talking about, like, why sports writers like baseball players that don't say shit. People like Cal Ripken Jr., people like Derek Jeter, because, like, you can just hit on the hero beat and throw whatever you want on them and attach whatever adjectives you want onto that person, because there's nothing that flies in the face to say one way or the other. You just can you can just fill the context yourself with your own opinion. When Caitlin Clark don't say shit, everybody's projecting their opinion onto everything around her, and she don't say shit.
Look, if she came out one day and was like, fuck y'all, I'm the reason why this shit moving, they would all be pissed or whatever. They would all be pissed. And part of me is like, I wish she would. Like, because look, it's true, but they just don't want to admit it. Like,
Brewhaven. Larry Bird was spicy, bro. Larry Bird was out here. Larry Bird was one of the greatest shit talkers of all time. It will call people out in the media or whatever else. His own teammates. Like, nah, it's not. He was a lot more
Larry
like
Bird
Dan
used to
Taurasi
say
than he
shit.
was like Caitlin Clark.
Larry Bird used to say shit like, he would go up to Isaiah Thomas and be like, so, and this is the early 80s in the Pistons, or one year he's playing against the Pistons, he'd be like, yeah, and he would have like Kelly Tripucka guarding him, or Kiki Vandeweghe or whatever. He'd go up to Isaiah Thomas and he'd be like, so y'all ain't got no brothers?
Right.
Like who's guarding me?
People guarding him. Right.
And then the next year he came back, Isaiah Thomas would be like, hey, Larry, I got somebody for your ass. Like, now. Yeah, Rodman. Like.
Yep. And it was also, was it against the Hawks we did the left-handed game? What game was that? Or who was he playing with the left-handed game?
I think it was the Hawks.
Yeah. So like Larry Bird was definitely a personality. Like Larry Bird was out here getting drunk with the sports writers.
Yeah, drunk off Budweiser. Like, yeah, for Caitlin Clark's part in it, like she largely is letting the things happen around her. She's not whining about it. She's flatly stating these things that are happening. She's like, yeah, it's not a basketball play, but she's like moving right on. Right. Because she cannot afford to like the people on Twitter to run these socially engineered campaigns to like just make up things about her. So like
and the best thing got is her relatives are saying MAGA shit. Her relatives. Yeah. Like, why do we know? Like, okay, we policing this now. Like, why do we even know Draymond's mom's name? Because she was out here defending her son punching Jordan Poole in the fucking face. You know what I'm saying? On Twitter. Until her account got deleted. Like, we don't police people especially men. We don't police men for the things that like the people in their families do online, right? But like when it comes to women, it's a double standard of they supposed to know better. It's like, nah, man, like the standard's standard. If they ain't got to worry about that shit, neither should she. Or none of them. Like, so if somebody, right, like, Inescu's auntie go crazy, they ain't got shit to do with her. That's not her responsibility.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, one of my family members started tweeting out crazy shit. I ain't got nothing to do with it. That is their opinion. If I disagree with it, I'll tell them. I'll tell y'all online or in person or to them I disagree with it.
Yeah.
You on your own. I save no one.
And the best thing about this, I believe the Sky and the Fever do this thing in like 14 more days or something. They run it back. So like this is going to keep going. Obviously, it's going to be like this is kind of how like stars are created within sports, because like if you're just following the Fever, you're seeing Caitlin Clark ride through this league essentially, and it's like you're meeting these characters along the way. Like right. You got familiar with Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner and the Sun and Dejanay Carrington. Yeah. You got familiar with the Aces. You hate the Liberty because the Liberty just been beating the shit out of the Fever, like just dog walking.
About 30 plus last night.
They killed them last night because they finally caught them all those games back to back, and like the last game before like. They had played like 12 games in 20 days or some shit. So they're off to like Friday, which is like their first time they get to practice or some shit.
And we've been talking about it. They were like,
the WNBA sees where the dollars is at. We gonna work now.
Go out there and I don't give a damn how tired y'all are. Go out there and make us this money, Caitlin. And all these NBA, all these WNBA schedules are weird this year because of the Olympics. And I didn't even think about it until I saw a tweet about it like earlier, like a couple days ago. And I was like, Rich, this is why everybody has weird schedules of like running like 4 and 5 and all this shit. He's like, oh yeah, the Olympics. And it's like right after the All-Star break too.
Yeah. And look, they did that and we put the Fever everywhere we can.
Yeah, it's definitely that part. It's definitely like send her out there, put her out there against the Liberty and the Aces and the Sun, and let them beat the shit out of them. Like, look, they use Caitlin like how I thought they was going to use Britt Baker in AEW. Like, that is a Trojan horse. Y'all came here to see a white woman. Come out here and watch these other women beat the shit out of her so you can see how good our league is.
But it's not gonna last forever. Like anybody that's like that doesn't get it with her, like and be like, oh, she's not winning. They're 2-9. Like it's not about this year. I want to make it abundantly clear. It's not about this year. But next year, the year after that, and the year after that, when there's a team that actually gets constructed around her, there's a coach that actually knows what they're doing and was hired for Caitlin, unlike Christy Sides. This is a multiple-time MVP in the waiting, James. Like, I've seen enough. Like, I feel like I can project it.
She's gonna look at worst. She's gonna be a multiple-time All-Star at worst. At worst, and I'm not gonna go no further because like I don't know if the rules are gonna change in her favor to where she can like become the Steph Curry of the WNBA or whatever else. But like even without that,
look,
more time in the weight room, more games, whatever else. She is going to be a WNBA All-Star, maybe even next season. Well, hell, she's going to start. She's going to be All-Star. She's going to be a starter this year because of the votes. But you get my point. Like I mean, a legitimate one. Like you don't get me wrong, she's not that far out. Like
she's going to make Team USA too.
She would make the team this. She would make an All-Star team this year anyway.
She's going to make Team USA too. And what are people going to do?
She's already on the team, isn't she?
Nah, like she's in the pool.
I thought they already announced her.
They haven't announced it yet. But
okay,
look, it's gonna be real funny when Clark is on Team USA and some other people are not. I'll leave it at that.
And it's always weird because of that Gino Auriemma shit. It's always weird.
That's true. That's one thing we can't discount.
Remember Nneka didn't make it last. Remember Nneka didn't make the international team last time. And like, have you seen what she's been doing this year?
No.
She's been killing. Like she might be the second best player in the league so far this season.
Look at that.
And that's another part that pissed me off about all this talk is like, hey man, you not real what the fuck Angel Wilson's doing this season?
Yeah, she averaging like 26 and 12 or some shit. She's averaging like 26 and 12. I think they've only played 7 games, but she's going crazy.
She has
I think the finals are going to be the Sun and the Aces. Like, and it's going to be a war.
For those that are NBA fans, whatever else, Angel Wilson's PR or hardcore stat nerds, whatever else. Her last I checked, I didn't total in the last thing. The last I looked before last game, her PR is 35. I think the highest number ever in the NBA was 33. So it's like she's fucking killing this year. It's like the 2-time defending champion is having a best year when she got robbed of the MVP last year, and she's about to set this whole thing on fire. And like we this is what we concerned with. Like I get it, but it's like this league is riddled with messiness and drama, and I love it. Just now getting into some of these storylines, whatever. And I wish I had watched it more seriously and more closely earlier.
This before we get to the dating.
Point. Sorry, yes,
the people that's dating each other, yeah,
right. People going through divorces, breaking up, and like people, teammates getting thrown to the ground, and your teammate got to basically pull like the remember when Kurt
like not too much on her, like
yeah. Do you remember when Kevin McHale clothesline Rambis?
Yes.
And then I think it was James Worthy that stopped Rambis from getting to the fight. Like the way that happened with the Wanda Bonner and them, it was like it's the same thing except that there's more like, oh no, you can't be fighting her because I'm trying to get my family back in order. You can't be doing this. You're gonna fuck this up. Like it's so good, man. It's so good. This league is so messy, and for those that have been watching, there are gonna be changes. I know it may not be the same, but you always thought these people deserve this recognition and the money that comes with all that kind of stuff, and they shouldn't have to go overseas to make most of their bank or whatever else. This woman can be transformational for the league, and like I'm not know if eventually they're going to make concessions or changes to make this thing work in a way to where like the league is going to be more opened up as far as the guard play. It just is. I already see it. I already see it on the horizon. And like the NBA had this stuff 20 years ago. The W, because of the lack of attention or whatever else, wasn't under the microscope in that way. It's going to change. Yeah, I just know. I see it coming.
Yep. Like you can look at the Bad Boys and how the rules changed then. You can look at the rule changes in the early 2000s.
The Knicks and the Pacers and
then like in
Heat.
theory you have more players now in the W adept to like because you're not dealing with like footers who you got to you play off the court. Like a lot of the post players can already shoot. Like and, there are people that already like have these floor stretching games kind of like in theory like
it should be much easier to open up the floor. Yeah,
correct.
Now they still have tons of backup bigs on them rosters.
Yeah, a lot of people are gonna be missing layups to get their own rebounds and stuff. Like
look, it's gonna be a job creation for women that are under 6 foot flat over the coming years in the W. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, but like,
A lot of them 6'4", a lot of them 6'4" power forwards and centers in the WNBA, the backups.
It's coming.
I think it's gonna be a rude
And
awakening.
you know what else is coming? Like, the offensive minds are going to be coming to the W. Like, someone like Chrissy Sides, I looked into it. She's like a career assistant coach, Louisiana Tech, in and out the WNBA as an assistant in different spots. Like, there are going to be like offensive gurus like that are going to be going to the W to essentially show what they can do to provide, like, on the NBA level. Or I wouldn't be shocked if we start seeing, like, you know, people that are assistants in the league jump over to the W and be like, yo, this is what I can do and stuff like that, and especially as the pay scales, you know, start rising. Like, when those offenses start coming, we're gonna get the defense to match it. We're gonna get Lady Tom Thibodeau, essentially, like, or you know, a dude jump over with like, hey, this is how you stop this shit. So like, there's gonna be a cool basketball element of this, which I don't want people to lose in all the culture war stuff, because like, I just don't get it. Like, as far as like it's never appealed to me in that sense. Like, as far as like who is who, and like, because like I grew up loving UConn, like, and Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, and like and loving Lisa Leslie and the Sparks and stuff like that. And I was like, does it have to be a culture war? Like, does it have to does it have to be this arena, like, to get off every grievance that you have with, or injustice with, life itself? It's like, there's so much that can be cool just as a sport, and like, it's disheartening.
This is the thing with Caitlin, right? That's gonna happen, right? Or it has happened, right? They see that needle mover, and what's happened? These fucking talk show, debate shows have picked it up. It's only going to get worse. Like, it's only get worse. You saw what happened with Monica McNutt and Stephen A. Smith today. You saw, like, we talked about Barkley a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Like, as they get more popular, more eyes on it, they gonna say dumb shit, and they're gonna have these dumb conversations. And it's like, welcome to the attention you always wanted. Now people get to talk about your league, and people only have this much knowledge of it, and they're gonna spout off or whatever else, and that becomes the number one top conversation. People that barely even know your league are gonna talk about this thing, and it's gonna lead conversations online. It's gonna be a breeding pool of dumb shit. So get ready. Get ready. Like, remember last year during Game 4 of the WNBA Finals, I was like, hey man, if someone was having this kind of game that Breanna Stewart was having, they'd be killing her. Talking about where's the clutch gene, choking, all that kind of shit. But it's a W, so it slides. Let that shit happen again. Let that shit happen again. They're gonna be take her trophy back, give it back to Asia. It's gonna happen. So all the dumb stuff you see when people talk about, you know, the legacy of these players and act like everyone was always garbage, get ready to hear about the W. Congratulations, you're mainstream now. Don't it feel great?
We done with the 2000s. We done. We done with Candace Parker.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Pat McAfee calling Caitlin Clark a white bitch on fucking television. What the fuck is he doing?
Yeah. Yeah, man. He was I know what he was trying to say, but it's like, bro, you would not call somebody, like, if this was dudes, you would not say, yeah, this is a white boy from Indiana or something like this, or, you know, shit like that. Like, I know what he was trying to say. He would
not say cracker. No.
Yeah. Is it one? Yeah, he would not say that. Like, but
is that the first time it's ever been dropped on ONR?
No.
I think it is. I know I've never done it.
Oh. Look, there's too much audio.
So you told yourself. Look, I was going.
There's too much audio for me to flatly dismiss or confirm or deny. Like, if this
we aren't the WNBA. We aren't exploding in popularity and multiplying in popularity. People aren't going to go through these podcasts with a fine-tooth comb. But once we end up on Spotify, sponsored Spotify shows, the Social Blast Network, then maybe so.
Yeah,
we'll see.
You know,
stay tuned.
Yeah, man. Like, but I just want people to remember, like, one thing I think is getting lost in it is the humanity of the players. Like, and people need to remember these are humans, like, that we're talking about, and
right.
I think a lot of that is getting lost in, like, how people are covering this, and you know we don't have an extensive history in covering the sport, but I'm gonna like remember to respect the players as I would. And you know, we're about to talk about the NBA finals, or I think James got to go, but I'm going to talk about you know, a little preview of the NBA finals as the AEW World Champion calls my phone. I'm gonna have to hit him back, but
ask me if he wants to pick up this shift when I get off.
Yeah, man, it's it's a lot, man. But I guess James, you know, anything else you want to add?
Nah, man, I didn't think we were gonna spend this much time talking about the W in my short time here. I thought we were gonna move on to a couple other things, but unfortunately, time's up, so I'm out of here. So thanks for having me on the show. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the hold up. Thanks for dealing with this nonsense, Rich. But I'll holler at you, man.
No doubt.